Shalom, shalom. It's the brother One coming to the video. Lord, when it's edifying and to the point. Right, real quick, I just want to blow the trumpet of an article from up End Time Headlines. And it reads, panic buying has suddenly erupted at retailers across America. Right, because what have you been, if you have been paying attention right during this week, it's been a real big week, man. Just dealing with two countries, two leaders, right? The leader of China and the leader of America, right? Babylon the Great, Joe Biden, Trump. But these tariffs, are getting real ugly, and what the people are starting to pay attention. They're trying to react fast to it. So Lord willing, I'm able to get through this lesson pretty quick. I'm kind of thundering outside. I'm trying to charge my phone as well so I can have some juice just in case it go out for the night. But anyways, right, Lord willing, lessons that are fine. But I just want to read some of it because it is in his opinion. But I just want to add it up, line it up with the scriptures as well, because we already know, is it what problem, chaos, solution, something like that. I can never get the quote correctly, but when I hear it, I understand it. But the thing about it is we understand that he has to get order out of chaos. So we know all this stuff has to pretty much go down the drain just for them to come out with something new. Right. So, yes, it's about to get real. This finna be a hot summer. Right. So it says opinion. Do you remember the panic buying that we witnessed during the early days of the pandemic? Right. And, like 2019, 2020. Right. Really about 2020, about February, March. Right. Folks was goddamn just going crazy. Right. It says it's back. And I have a feeling that is only going to intensify in the days ahead. Right. As a matter of fact, that just made me think about one scripture. Well, excuse me, on the book of Ezekiel, right? Sound like a broken record, but hey, man, it got to come out. But it's Ezekiel 7:5. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, and evil and only evil, right? So evil and only evil, right? So it's like more of an intensifying thing, right? When you see one bad time, best believe it's bad time backing that up. And behind that is bad times, And it said, an end is come. The end is come. And watch it for thee. Behold, it is come. All right. So as we know, we compare it to as a woman giving birth, right? Right. And we put inside this perspective of us Israelites being delivered, right? We have to go through those birth pains. So yes, it's supposed to get ugly, supposed to intensify, right? As that lady, right? As the woman, as she go further into her labor, dilate into 10 centimeters before she give birth, right? So it's gonna get real hard. So let me get that word for intensify. And it means to what? Become or make more intense. Excuse me. Increase the opacity of a negative using a chemical kind. Okay, you still make the point. Let me see if I can get inside just since they want to give me a good bit. I think I spelled it correctly. Right, so to what? To intensify means to escalate, increase, strengthen, sharpen. Right, so these bad times are only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Right, so I'm not going to expound on that too much. Right, so it says as more Americans begin to realize that products made in China will soon more than double in price, and that some may no longer be available at all, there will be a feverish rush to purchase Chinese-made goods, right? And not just Chinese-made goods, just goods and all, right? Because you're going to have some folks, they may not be able to get what they want as from China, but they got to get what's best to it, Well, I'm going to say as a food, trying to improvise, mainly thinking about food. But, even electronics, whatever, like, they was talking about the iPhones. I see one of them was like, the iPhone maybe $2,500, So, yes, there's going to be a lot of people trying to be antsy to get in them stores and to get whatever they can while it's, at an affordable price, right? And I'm thinking more so them goods, man, because that's what's really will make these folks, trip out, right? So yeah, all of that, all in one, man, right? But mainly the goods, right? The food. It says, ironically, this may actually give a short-term boost to the U.S. economy, and the economic numbers for the first half of this year may end up. So let me read that back over. Ironically, this may actually give a short-term boost to the U.S. economy, and the economic numbers for the first half of this year may end up looking better than they otherwise would have. Right? Well, you just got people panic buying, so they better get their money back, just like they did last time, man. At least I know what he be doing. Definitely not going to read all of this. Kind of make sure I get them last two paragraphs. Kind of just skim through it, right? And I'm going to go to the scriptures that I have. It says, before I get too deep into this article, there are a couple of things that I want to clarify. First of all, I do not think that the U.S. should have ever begun trading with communist China at all, because communist China has always been an incredibly evil regimen, right? Let me edify myself. I think I'm saying it correctly. Regime, right? It says a government, especially authoritarian one, Slovakia, a system or planned way of doing things, kind. So just a system, right? It says, secondly, it is a catastrophic error for the U.S. to become so deeply dependent on imports from China. This is something that I have been writing about for years. Well, just like every other place, with this trade war with China and America, right? You had 50 or 70 other places was pretty much trying to, stand down. Like, they ain't trying to stand bold like how China is, man. They're trying to make a deal. Right, because they seen how America's slapping them shits on China. They like, all right, shit, y'all got it, So hey, if anything, America trying to be the bully too as well. Right, but it says our stores are now teeming with products that were made in China, and thousands of our supply chains simply cannot function without equipment, parts, or products that come from China. Right, and that's how China got America in the trick bag, and America got China in the trick bag, right? Because they really all need each other, man. Right. It says, but our leaders refuse to listen to those of us that were sounding the alarm, and now we have a real mess on our hands because we have become so deeply dependent on China. The trade war that has now begun is really going to hurt, and everyone should be able to see that. We're starting with our apostles and elders, right on down, right? We see what's going on, right? And we also understand that this is a part of prophecy, right? The Lord talks about in the book of Matthew 24 how rumor against rumor, right? Kingdom against kingdom. You should have wars and rumors of wars. Yeah, Salaki, right? Wars and rumors of wars, right? Here we have them right now. Right, we're hearing about them and we've seen about it now, right? Trump didn't up the damn tariffs. What in three different days? 3 days, 3 times less than a week, if I'm mistaken. So it's definitely here, right? And hey, us men, right? Us hopefully elect, hey, we happy, We've been waiting to hear about this. We've been waiting to wake up to this good news, stuff like this, because we know we're ready for these prophecies to go ahead and, spark off, right? You know what I mean by spark off? Go full fledged, start being made, start manifesting, right? Really with the MOTB, Jacob's Trouble, right? On Thursday, the White House confirmed that the total tariff rate on Chinese imports has now risen to 145%. Right, so that's a lot. That's a lot, man. Right, it says the U.S. tariff rate on Chinese imports now effectively totals 145%. White House official confirmed to CNBC. It says Trump latest executive order hikes tariffs on Beijing to 125 from 84%. Right, so Trump just pretty much he just signing away, man. That's all he doing. Right, but it's more to that. But I just want to get at the main point of, the picture really be, doing it for me, right? It just be, it bring out the scriptures itself, But, so that in the title, the caption, it says panic buying has suddenly erupted at retailers across America. So a lot of things are finna go up, and best believe, right, whether it's electronics, whether it's food, right, once these people cannot get their hands onto it, they're going to what? It's going to be an uproar, right? Especially these Edomites, because of what they love to have their way. They don't know how it feels to go without, right, as a majority, So they're definitely going to feel the pain. And that, hey, them in 2/3, they gonna definitely make this shit cave in. So I was thinking about the book of Second Esdras. Right, let me just bring up them same scriptures, man. Because this was the small point in there I want to just bring out in the book of Second Esdras 15 and 16. Right, because once those shelves get empty, right, guess where they going next? They're going to your house. Right, so it said, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power, right? Because the thing about it is like, with these terrorists, it's not really affecting Donald Trump, It's not affecting his household. It's not affecting the president. Is it Sheen? I can't remember. I can't get his name right either. But it's not affecting his household. It's affecting the people. So hey, once this shit start going dry and things are not on the shelf that they can't get, hey, they're gonna automatically start going to their neighbor house, Crosstown, wherever they try to get it. Right? Jump to 19. It says that man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, right? Because these times we're coming into, things gonna be so bare, right? People can't bear. Things gonna be bare on the shelves. People can't bear that situation, right? Especially ones that have been spoiled, right? Living deliciously, right? Not even paying attention to these types of times, So they're not gonna know how to go without when this time spring forth. So yeah, they should have no pity upon their neighbor, right? A lot of invading is going to be going on, right? A lot of the love of many, a lot of the love of many shall wax cold will be going on, man against the wife, right? The man's supposed to be there of his own household, right? A lot of that finna be going. A lot of betrayal is finna be going on, man, right? I guess I can bring that one back out again. I didn't use it for like the last 3 videos, but hey, man, I keep bringing it out, right? Because this is what we're seeing, so we might as well just keep bringing it out. Second Esdras 16, verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be good so cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, right? And that's why people are doing that. What is it? Feverish buying, right? People are panic buying now. Because they thought it was in good case, right? We've been blowing the horn, letting you know that, hey, this place is collapsing, man. But people have to wait until they hear it from the officials to say it's official, Well, so that's why people in that panic buying spirit, When they're really trying to panic buy the wrong thing, they need to be trying to, what it says, buy the truth and sell it not, right? You Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and natives, right? You need to be trying to get this truth, right? And chase after that. Because when you get this truth, right, we already know that the Lord said He's going to feed us in these times, right? He's going to provide what we lack, right? So we don't really have to worry about being in these lines, worrying about getting stabbed, trying to get down, try and buy a slab of beef ribs, right? The Lord going to make sure we get our food at a certain time, right? We're not going to be in a mix, right? And liable to get injured or put to death. Behold, victuals shall be good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion, right? And that's what we're seeing right now. These evils, these bad times are growing, right? So we're going to see more sword, right, killing because of the fact that famine, right? It's no food around, or it's too high, right? So they got a better chance at knocking the next person off and getting their foods and spoiling and running inside their house. They go inside the grocery store and buying it, right? And Second Esdras 6, I think it's 22, right? because of what I was when I was bringing this out, thinking about how, like, once these storehouses, these warehouses, these distribution centers, shut down, right? They're going to be what? Excuse me. They're going to be come to your, like I said, come to your house, But it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. Like I said, your Walmarts, big distribution centers, man. They're going to get ramshacked, right? Seeing all of these tariffs, right? And they can't have the funds to pay for it, like, hey, $200 for a loaf of bread, $50 for a 10 pack slice of cheese, right? It says, and suddenly, right, all at an instant, shall the sown places appear unsown. Why? Because of the people that's panic buying. Right, the full storehouse shall suddenly be found empty, and the trumpet shall give a sound, Slakia, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid, right? And trust me, people about to be afraid. Not too long ago, it was crazy, not to be too personal, but, I was just inside the shower, and like I said, there's a storm going on, and the lights went off, like, it's pitch black, and I'm like, shit, man, hey, I ain't done showering yet, but, it just you felt comfort in a dark time. Like, it is what it is. I know there's a storm going on, with these people that's, loafing around. Really, you Israelites, you loafing around, not paying attention. Hey, when this, when it just, hits you real hard, right? When reality just sink all the way in, right? You're going to be suddenly afraid, right? Because it's gonna come real hard. Like, it's going to come at an instant. It's like it, right? It said that, and the trumpet shall give a sound, and when every man heareth, they shall suddenly be afraid. It says, verse 24, and it's heavy, right? Because this is heavy, right? Because, a lot of niggas cannot control themselves when they hungry. They just start saying anything and start doing anything, right? You're going to start seeing people's true colors when this food famine really hits. It says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, right? You know how hungry you got to be to look at you, your day one, Hey, you may be your sandbox buddy, right? You see, you can look at them like an enemy, That's tough, right? You got to have a big-ass demon on you to do that, And also, hey, you wasn't trying to serve Yahweh Shem Yahushua, so he gave you over to it. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run, right? Because things are going to shut down, man. Right? End of the day, we got to understand about them trying to get ready for this NWO. So this thing got to collapse all the way, and they got to get real bad so they can come back in looking like the heroes. So that was that on this article in this lesson, right? Lord willing, was edifying. But yes, this is at the door. Just want to blow the trumpet on it, blow the horn on it, right? So call Allah Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shabbat Shem Krakadash, right? And on to the next one. Shalom.